Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of Get Up with Garrett, with your host, Garrett.
We made it, Dougie.
We made it.
Can't believe
That music's great.
I love it.
It's great. So how are you, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm well rested. Feel good. Did my Orange Theory this morning.
Nice.
It's great to be back. And I was actually on vacation for a week. And if you know anything about going on vacation with kids or family or dog, we call that a relocation. Mm-hmm. So it's not a vacation.
Yes.
It's just a relocation. And learned a couple new things. Went out to the beach. My family has a house out there. And I've learned it's not so easy to go on vacation in someone else's house when they live there. That's tough too. Mm-hmm. So looks good on paper. But a couple funny things I wanted to share with you. Some good R&R. You know, we were part of that group that got the pandemic puppy. Have you heard of this? The people that got
pandemic
puppies?
Puppy, yeah. Absolutely.
So we've got a beautiful Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Mm-hmm. It's a very royal dog. You have to use all 4 names for Daisy. Mm-hmm. It's Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. Don't forget any of the names. So Daisy got her first haircut. She went on vacation, and I thought I'd share with everyone how beautiful she looks.
There she is. There she is. That's great. I was pulling out the picture. Did you say she's a King Charles?
So it's 4 words. It's Cavalier, King Charles, because King Charles discovered and I guess love this dog, and you know, you'll see ancient photos of King Charles with a lap dog, and that's this dog. And then the last part is Spaniel, which of course is a real hunting dog and loves to go out and on long walks and look for things. So it's a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. They're amazing with kids. They will love you to death. If you break into my house, they'll probably lick you till the police come and show you where the safe is. That's just how they are. So we've had a great time. And something also funny. My wife, we went to the beach and always trying to get our kids into doing fun activities. So my wife was kind of getting Harper excited about playing softball, and they go down to the beach and she's throwing her the wiffle balls on the beach, and literally she throws it and Harper hits it right into her face. And it's hysterical. You have the footage?
Oh yeah. Come on.
Let's take a look. There it is, smack right in the face.
Right in the face.
So it was good. It was good to get down to the beach a little bit, walk around, get some fresh air. Now I want to talk to you about when you're at the beach, when you're at the pool. What's going on with your summer cocktail of choice? I don't know when this happened, but when I was growing up, we drank beer and things like that. At some point a few years ago, it became socially acceptable for married men in their 40s, like me, to drink different type of cocktails. So whether it's the High Noon or the White Claw, or a good friend of mine, Sidell, from Scout and Cellar, are selling these spritzers, which are really awesome. They're like 75 calories and clean crafted, and just when you drink one of her wines, you feel good the next day.
Nice.
So big shout out to my friend Sips with Sidell. You can follow her on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, what's your favorite flavor or what's your favorite?
Now that we have a friend in the business, it's definitely going to be hers. We definitely got to support. I love to support local businesses. But yeah, I do like the seltzer drinks. Today there is some cool iced tea versions now. I do like they make Arnold Palmer's too, that it's like half lemonade, half, but it also got a little infusion in there. So those are good. But yeah. So
an Arnold Palmer with vodka, do you know what that is?
No.
That's a Jack Daly.
Good to know. You learn something new every day.
I love ordering those. I love those Arnold Palmers in the can. I mean, you got to watch the calories on some of those.
You got to watch how many you drink too, because you don't taste anything. You just go right down like water.
I just don't know when it happened. I mean, I go golfing and I'll have 3 of these High Noons, and it's pineapple and it's mango, and it's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, they're delicious.
Yeah, and these things were around. They caught on today. But do you remember the commercials? I remember the commercials, the Zima commercials. Yes. The guys walking on the ceiling and stuff.
I remember Zima. I remember
Smirnoff Ices.
Yep, Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah.
But
Now it's okay. Now it's cool.
Anything goes. It's cool. It's cool. So that was good. And of course, now that it's still summer, you've got to find a new TV show, right? You got to find something to binge and something to watch. I feel like we finished so many different Netflix and HBO, and it's just been so many programs. But my father-in-law introduced me to something the other night called Manifest. Have you heard of this?
I have.
Evidently, they go on an airplane and they land 5 years later, I think, something like that. So we watched the first episode of Manifest on Netflix. Checked that out last night.
I've watched like the first season.
Okay.
But I don't want to burst your bubble. I don't think they end the show.
So I don't think
the show's gonna end. Yeah, you're committing to something that you might wind up coming to the end of it, or what the end is, and it doesn't really end. So you might always wonder what happens. What happens.
Kind of reminds me of Lost a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't watch that whole thing, but look, I liked the first episode. I thought it was good acting. I thought it was intriguing. It was interesting. If it only goes 3 or 4 seasons and I'm entertained, right? Something to do with my wife, put the phones down, focused on a new show, which I think is great, healthy for a marriage to do something like that. And if it only goes 3 or 4 seasons, so be it. As long as we like it, right?
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
So 2 things. One, if that's what you're looking for, Sons of Anarchy.
Okay.
And it ends. There's an ending to it. So definitely watch Sons of Anarchy. It's one of my favorite shows. And I don't want to ruin her name. Sidel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's watching right now. She says, thanks for the shout out.
Oh, there she is.
So we want to remind you guys that we are live and we want to make this as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions, if you put them in the comments section, we could bring them up, just like Sidel right here. Saying thanks for the shout out and thanks for watching, Sidel.
And we're not just live on Facebook today. We're live on Instagram also.
Yes, we're live on Instagram right there. Behind the scenes camera over there. So yeah, if you guys want to, if you tune in, if you go into the Facebook, we can pull it up. So that's not connected here, but we are live on Instagram. And if you guys want to participate as well, definitely switch over to Facebook.
Wow. And hopefully next week, maybe we'll go live on LinkedIn. We'll see
so we're just waiting for the LinkedIn gods to give us approval.
To see, if we're good enough for them.
Yes, absolutely. So David's here too. So David says great conversation.
Who's David? I can't see it. Oh, David, there he is. Lentz. All right.
There you go.
All right.
Yes, we want to make this interactive as possible. So keep the comments coming. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.
All right. So we talked about Manifest.
Yep.
And then so one of the things that I don't know if I got into a little bit on some of the previous episodes that my background was actually sport management. So I have a degree in sport management, which basically is a business degree with a focus on sport. And it's amazing. For young boys and girls out there, you can go to school and study sports and you can get straight A's doing it and get a great job. It's incredible. So my first job after college was selling season tickets with the Golden State Warriors before they had won these 3 championships recently. And I moved out to the San Francisco Bay Area. And it was selling tickets to high net worth individuals and to big companies. And I think we'll touch on some of that in the future as well. We'll probably bring in some friends from the Warriors and from our past. But I remember when we were out there, there was a tremendous fight that happened between the players and the fans in a famous game. It was Indiana versus Detroit. And I think they called it the Malice in the Palace. I don't know if Brian's watching. Maybe I got that right.
B-Rock, yep. Malice in the Palace.
Malice in the Palace. So this was in 2004. And Netflix just sent me a little email. This is a documentary coming. I'm sure everyone's loved the 30 by 30 on ESPN documentaries. But this just looks amazing. There's the clip up there. I can't wait to watch this with, Ron Artest is literally in the crowd punching people. I mean, I forget exactly kind of how it all went down. Someone threw something on the court. And this was a huge turning point where a tremendous barrier was crossed in professional sports going into the stands. Do you remember that at all? I don't know.
Yeah. And so that was what, 2004. So I was obsessed with basketball at the time. I was probably a junior in high school. And I believe this was around the same time Latrell Sprewell thing. I think they were very close to each other. There was they were running a bunch of these stories. Latrell Sprewell choked his coach.
That was a little bit earlier. Yeah. Because that was before I got to the Warriors.
Okay.
And that was the Warriors. That was Don Nelson, Latrell Sprewell. So that was few years before.
So but when that happened, it started a
Huge.
snowball of like,
Right.
they started running all these like situations that happened it was like within like 2 years or something. So I do remember it. Yeah, it was crazy. You went into the stands, started fighting fans, like, and now the fans are throwing stuff at players.
I think last week in New York at the Yankee game, I think it was Yankee Red Sox, and I think a Red Sox player threw the ball into the outfield to a Red Sox fan. I don't know if it was a home run ball or whatever. And typically, like, you'll see if a visiting fan, will throw it back or something. But in this case, he was just trying to give the ball to the kid, and a Yankee fan took it and threw it back at him, and he hit him. So that fan was ejected, and that fan was banned from Yankee Stadium for life. I don't know if they were banned from other stadiums in baseball, but they made a big deal about it. Things are changing. I mean, it's not just the kind of throwing a little beer or whatever. It's serious. Like, athletes are humans as well, and you can't just throw a ball at someone and try to hurt them. I mean, that's just unacceptable in every way. So can't wait to see the Malice in the Palace. Is that what it was?
Yeah, Malice in the Palace
on Netflix. So
if it's anything like the Last Dance, it should be pretty good.
Did
you like the Last Dance?
It was incredible. And kudos to them for putting it out, dropping it during COVID. I mean, that was just awesome to relive that. So I remember that year very well. Thanks for bringing that up. I was a ball boy for the New Jersey Nets my senior year of high school. So my job was to go to the games. I rebounded for the players. I worked in the locker room.
That's awesome.
I mopped the court. It was an incredible experience. And I remember that 1998, that was the Bulls, I guess, third round, right? The sixth championship. I remember bringing beer to Phil Jackson in the locker room after they beat. So they played the Nets in the first round. The Nets almost won that game one. It was incredible. It was very close. And then the Nets, of course, were swept by the Bulls. And so to relive that season was spectacular. And for the younger generation to really see what Michael Jordan went through and how he was a leader on the court, and how he was an absolute killer. We talked last week or 2 weeks ago about, being a killer business athlete. And I wasn't necessarily a fan of the Bulls. I was a Nets fan, of course, when I worked at the Warriors, a Warrior fan. But you've got to embrace greatness, and watching Michael Jordan be great just brought chills to me, right? And there's a great book out there by Pat Williams, who was a former GM of the Orlando Magic. It's called Be Like Mike. Awesome book. Such a simple read. Just talks about how do you remember the Gatorade commercials? Yeah. Be like Mike. Yeah. What it's like to be Michael Jordan, to be a court general, to really lead by example, to practice like it's the game, like practice is the thing, to always be dressed up when people meet you in public, because you never know when that kid's going to see you for the first time and what's that impression like. So I highly recommend that book, Be Like Mike. So watching The Last Dance was breathtaking to me. I really loved it. It brought chills. And people think about LeBron, and it's like a lot of people hate on LeBron for chasing a championship. And you don't have to like the Cavs or the Lakers or the Heat or whatever team he was on, Dougie. But I mean, you've got to embrace greatness. Yeah. And what he's done with his body and how he invests. I heard he spends over $1 million a year on his body.
Oh, absolutely.
So when I hear about that with health and wellness, I mean, that's just music to my ears. I just think that's fantastic. So embrace greatness in life, whether it's a business person that you look up to, a mentor, or an athlete. You don't have to be a fan of their team, but don't hate on greatness and success, because it's fleeting. It doesn't last forever. And Michael Jordan is getting older, and he went to a restaurant in Margate called Stephen Cookies, and where we love to go. And 200 people were outside cheering for him. And he comes out and he's got a cigar and gets in the car. I mean, he's still a huge draw, a huge deal. So thanks for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Michael Jordan, I don't know how you feel about sneakers.
I'm a sneaker freak.
Are you a sneaker freak?
I am. So I was obsessed with basketball.
Yep.
I had tons of Jordans, and I worked at a basketball camp, and my job was to go to Foot Locker to get the prizes for the basketball camp. So I was the one always buying all the prizes. So they're like, this guy's always buying stuff. We're going to give him the friends and family discount. So once a month, I would get the friends and family Nike discount, 50% off everything in the store. And I would spend my basketball coaching money, and I'd run around the store, 10 and a half, jersey, whatever, spending crazy amounts of money on stuff I didn't need, But yeah, like I had the Space Jam Jordans.
Nice.
Those were my prized possession.
Space Jam.
The Space Jam Retro 11s.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice. So I had all the Jordans when I was little growing up. And recently I've started trying to like buy them again and collect them. So I did just get a new pair of Fresh Kicks Jordan 1s. You got that photo there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the baby blue color there. Love Carolina, of course.
So those are awesome, right?
Kind of like denimish too. Yeah.
Those are awesome. And here's what grinds my gears. Like my Retro 11s, the Space Jams, when I got them, they were like $2,000. Like if I wanted to resell them, they would have been like $2,000 because they only put out the shoe one time and that was it.
Sure.
But now they re-released them. My $2,000 sneakers are worth $100.
So that's how I look at it. Like some guys collect sneakers, then they flip them real quick and try to make money on them. But the reality is that Nike can just release any colorway anytime they want. Yeah. Right. So, it's not really.
It used to be a big deal.
It used to be. Yeah. It used to be. And then there's different versions. So those are my new, my new Jordans. And it's funny, you said Space Jam. The other day I said to my daughter, Harper, do you want to watch the new Space Jam with LeBron? So we went on in there, I think it's on HBO Max. And she ended up seeing the old Space Jam first, came up and she goes, let's watch that. That's the original, right? So we watched that with Michael Jordan. And then we watched the new LeBron Space Jam. And they were both great. I mean, LeBron did a great job. MJ did a great job, and it just brought back. I mean, that's when he was playing baseball. That just tied in the whole Last Dance and my background. So it really, really felt close to home. The other cool thing I just wanted to touch on the business side. I don't know if you've been following what goes on in the stock market, but Tesla's kind of finally coming back up a little bit. And then Robinhood had gone public about 2 weeks ago, and Robinhood is this company that allows people to buy little pieces of stock. So if there's a stock that's, $500 or $1,000 and you can't afford to buy a share, but you want to buy, a quarter of a share or half a share. A lot of, let's say, millennials, really like investing that way where you can just buy a little bit of a favorite company. So it's been huge in the news and it went public, I think in the 30s or $32 or $33 a share, somewhere around there. And I think it lost around 10% kind of quickly. And it wasn't that sexy, right? It wasn't that exciting. Well, I wake up yesterday and the thing is in the 70s. It's over doubled. 75, I think it was. And I think it may be traded back a little bit today. So this is nuts. Like Robinhood has fallen in, they're saying on the news, to one of these meme stocks where you've got people that are just so supportive of a certain company, whether it's GameStop or AMC Theaters, that they just don't care what the P&L says. They're just buying it because they want to actually like lift it up.
The troops, yeah.
Right.
Which is super surprising because Robinhood, depending how you feel with the whole GameStop situation, technically, like some of these people believe that Robinhood shut it down and took away the potential of the other meme stocks, of the GameStop. So I don't know if you were following along.
Yes, of course.
Everyone started, the meme stop was GameStop. Everyone rallied up and a company that, wasn't projected to have a lot of earnings. Everyone bought GameStop, and then Robinhood, for whatever reason, shut everything down right when people started making money. So a lot of people got angry, which leads to why I think a lot of people are moving to crypto. Yeah. Because they're like, well, the stock market's rigged. I'm going to go to crypto now. Right. Like whatever.
So there's this distrust kind of with the younger generation about companies and Bitcoin. Look, Bitcoin got down to like 29-ish, and which was like a big breakthrough to pass 30. That's 30,000 a Bitcoin.
That's crazy.
And then it stayed there for about 2 weeks or so. And then now it's back, 37 to 40, kind of 37 to 39,000 a Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm not ready to go put a big part of my personal wealth into something like that. But I certainly think the future of this kind of digital wallet and digital currency is for real. And Bitcoin certainly seems to be the name that's gotten out there ahead of and the idea of Ethereum and the whole blockchain where you're recording, transactions, kind of like a digital register, like a title agency. That all makes a lot of sense to me, and now they're talking about the kind of the US government saying, well, if you're going to be selling your Bitcoins and making all this money, Uncle Sam wants a piece too. You're going to have to pay taxes. So when that happens, you start to see a little bit of it go down in value. But really, it's solidifying it for the future, because if the government's interested in taxing it, then you're going to see big institutions and big banks start bringing it out to their clients.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to talk to a lot of big wealth managers, they'll tell you that's one of the biggest things their clients are asking for, more information about how to invest in cryptos,
Yep.
Bitcoin, Ethereum. So I thought that was really interesting. But by the way, I on this podcast, I should say I share my personal experience and to be authentic, but by no means do I give any type of financial or legal or tax advice. So please check with
there's our fine print.
Yeah, with your experts about what's right for you. And you may hear me say a certain dollar amount, but that may only be 1% of what I'm investing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Michael Jordan. If Michael Jordan loses $10,000 on a golf bet, that's like you buying your friend a French fry. It's just not. It's not relevant. It's not relatable. So just don't get bent out of shape on that. The other cool thing that happened was, we've talked a little bit about my Salons by JC business, which is such an incredible passion business for me, where we help a lot of women, a lot of minorities own their own business in the health, beauty, wellness world. And we're actually open around the corner in Wyckoff, and we're open now in Paramus and working on other locations in Bergen County. So we had like a little mini celebrity sighting over there. If you ever watched the Real Housewives of New Jersey on Bravo, Melissa Gorga popped in and got her hair done. So it's just really great to see her and appreciate her supporting Kristen and supporting local entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses here in Bergen County. And everyone came out. Everyone looks beautiful. So that was exciting. That was cool to hear that news. So just wanted to again touch a little bit as an overview. We had such a great show last time with Ryan Bergman. And I think I kind of missed out on giving a good overview of what the podcast is going to be about. We're certainly going to talk about some current events and kind of things that are interesting in the health and wellness and entrepreneur world. Well, obviously, going to talk about commercial real estate. Our background is I'm third generation, so my grandfather started our company in 1947. He literally landed in the beaches of Normandy in World War II, came home with 2 Purple Hearts. And, had no money, had nothing, and had this opportunity to kind of get in a small little gift store. And, that turned into an office supply store, and we had Hallmark stores. And then my dad and uncle grew that into a large office supply business that was called Allied Office Supplies, similar to a small Staples or Office Depot. And that then transitioned into commercial real estate and shopping centers. And we'll get into that more, the family business stuff later. But just so people understand my background as the last 15, 20 years as a commercial real estate expert in terms of buying and selling, financing, property asset managing, leasing, working with investors on retail shopping centers, multifamily assets, mixed use assets. So I just want to make sure I mention that's kind of what my background is. And, we'll, as we get to the fall, I would love to do maybe some football picks. I mean, that definitely, I'm a big Giant fan, but it keeps it interesting watching the other games, working the FanDuel and the DraftKings and Fantasy.
I'm addicted now. I'm addicted now. Yes. I'm addicted now.
Okay.
Our good friend Jeffrey's got me addicted.
You can get help for that, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be a rehab for that.
But I'm winning. So I don't need that.
You're winning.
I'm winning. I'm nonstop winning.
This is awesome.
The only time I've lost is when I didn't read the fine print. I bet on Italy to win the Euro.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there. They go into overtime. I'm yelling at the TV.
Sure.
They win, but apparently my bet only counted if they won in regulation.
Okay. Overtime doesn't count.
Overtime and penalty kicks.
Overtime doesn't count.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I lost that, and I lost Conor McGregor's broken ankle.
But
other than that, I've won everything else. The NBA Finals, all the games, I picked them right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So the addiction is paying off.
So we'll talk a little bit about sport business. We'll talk about sports. We'll talk about entrepreneurship. Health and wellness, and of course with the touch of trying to dig a little deeper, trying to be transparent, trying to be authentic. And many of our shows will have guests, whether it's tenants from the family shopping center business, whether it's from the salon business, whether it's from different networking organizations like the Young Presidents Organization. I've just met some incredible entrepreneurs throughout the past 15, 20 years. But one of the things I wanted to try to hone in on today was talking about, being open to failure, right? And being transparent. And I think a lot of young people get, so wrapped up in success and wanting success that they forget about how important it is, to fail, how important it is to be okay with that, and really how it's about how you pick yourself up, and that the powerful thing is really the journey. You can get to the end of your life, but you're not going to, I mean, how big a hole are you going to dig to take all your money with you? That's not the legacy that you want to really create. And so, going back to Michael Jordan, you miss all the shots you don't take. I mean, there's hundreds of game-winning shots he probably missed throughout his career, right? But it's about being ready and being prepared each time, and learning from your failures and dusting yourself off, picking yourself back up. And I think when we were younger in school, it was just called trial and error, right? It was just like, all right, we're in math, we're learning this new function, and let's use trial and error. And I'm proud to say that I make 100 mistakes at least a day. I fail constantly every day, and that's part of the secret to success. Being willing to do that. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh, yeah.
Feeling that way?
So there's no, people think that, the first thing that they try, they're going to be super successful. And then they also get afraid of failure. So like they maybe not try or not put themselves out there because they're afraid to fail. Like no one who was successful had a straight line A to B success path. Like there's this, it's like a journey. It's a windy road. Like I've started it. Speaking of basketball, I was obsessed with basketball. I was in the gym in high school, in the gym like 2 hours before school started, shooting. Like I was obsessed with basketball. Obviously, not an NBA player, but those skills translated very well with lacrosse, and I wound up playing lacrosse in college. Lacrosse, it's not something that you can, make a living off of it now. It's not, you make $1 million.
Professional players don't do, huge numbers. They have
being a professional athlete wasn't in my cards. But so if everything was a straight line of A to B, I would be in the NBA, but it doesn't work that way. But I take all those lessons I've learned of being in the gym, of working really hard, of not giving up, and I apply those to business, to what we do here. But yeah, it's not a straight line. It's not the first thing you fall in love with is not going to be the last thing, and you got to keep going.
Yeah, it's definitely like success. It's going to be kind of like this. Like you may start here and you may get here, but it's a lot of this. And I always say to my girls, when you're born, babies can do two things, right? You can you can suck and you can cry. Everything else is learned, right? Everything else is learned. So why would you get upset, and why would you kind of be hard on yourself for falling down and making mistakes if you can just change your mindset and look at learning never ends, right? My dad is 70 years old. He's learning new things every day, right? And that's the way you want to be. You should never stop learning, and being open to failure and being open to talking about it. Just look at it like, it's kind of a science project, an invention. I mean, how many times does Elon Musk did he have to tweak to get the right battery and the right, rocket ship? I mean, it's life. So on that point where I want to go with this, Dougie, is I've been so fortunate to have great speakers and kind of come to really interesting presentations. So I went to a great presentation twice with a gentleman named John Choate. He's actually a former Navy SEAL, and he runs a security business. So, high net worth families or private companies can hire him, or organizations can hire John to come and speak to you. There's his LinkedIn profile. You can check him out. It's CHOATE. And John went to the Naval Academy. He's, again, a former Navy SEAL, and he spoke to our YPO group, and I'm not going to give away all the incredible things he spoke about, but we talked a lot about leadership, and we talked about being willing to do what's called the reverse resume. So I thought this was so interesting. John said when someone applies at a company, they always give you a resume, right? And you say, oh, well, I was, I finished first in my class, and I had this great job, and I brought an extra $50,000 to the company my first year, and I volunteered at the Special Olympics, and I did this, and that. But what John does is he says to the applicant, now go through each piece of your resume and let's reverse it. Let's do the reverse resume. Tell me where you fell down. Tell me where you made a mistake. Tell me where you really screwed up. Tell me the reverse resume. And I was blown away by it. And he made all his executives sit down and do that. And what he was trying to promote was that it's okay at my company to fail. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be vulnerable. That's the kind of person we want who's not afraid. Because if you're out there in the military, right, you've got to watch each other's backs, and you've got to correct yourself, and you got to be looking out for each other. And you want to be with someone that's not have such a big ego that they're not afraid to take direction from other people. So he went on and he talked about, his background in the military. And one of the other things that he said that I really picked up on was, he said, when the alarm clock goes off in the morning, he wants to be the type of person that the devil says, "Oh shit, he's up." And I've taken that with me everywhere I go now, when I get up, when that clock goes up, and I don't love getting up at 4:30 in the morning or whatever the time is, depending on what time class is. I take a couple seconds to myself in the bed and kind of, take some breaths and be thankful and grateful for my family. And then I put my feet down and I go, "Hey, devil, oh shit, I'm up." Because I want him to know, look out, we're going. From the minute my feet hit the ground, we're in go mode. So John, if you're listening, thank you for teaching me that. And so what I wanted to do on today's episode was take that reverse resume and apply it to the project that we're doing in Hawthorne, New Jersey, where you came to the groundbreaking a few months ago. And so I thought maybe we can start with kind of the sexy part of it. I
got a lot of sexy stuff. Which part are we? Which
and
sexy
then back
part?
out.
We got a lot of sexy pics here lined up for you.
It's getting sexy now.
Oh yeah, getting sexy. We're bringing sexy back.
So start maybe with the little video of the groundbreaking.
All right.
Which is just a short little, what is that? A boomerang they call it, or is it?
Yeah. That's a little video here.
Yeah. So this was a huge moment for our family. To be on site and start and break ground.
Nice.
We're developing a tremendous project. It's a $60+ million project in Hawthorne, New Jersey. And it's going to be 118 luxury residential units that are fully amenitized. So you're talking incredible kitchen areas, work from home areas, salon areas, pet spas, outdoor, indoor, outdoor living, grill stations, wine storage. I mean, I don't want to give away all the secrets, but it's going to be, it's exciting. And the project is mixed use. It's also going to have a Planet Fitness building, which I think you probably have a photo of somewhere. And, the nice thing about health and wellness, we've always talked about how important it is that everybody who lives here will have a complimentary membership to Planet Fitness. There's the elevations of the Planet. So it's just a really kind of cool industrial looking project. So the retail component is 16,000 square feet. You have the Planet Fitness, and then there'll be two small local mom and pop type retailers that will probably be focused on grab and go food, healthy options, because we are about a quarter mile from the train. Now, when you live in an apartment building, what else do you need besides a gym and something to eat and somewhere to live? You need storage, right?
True.
People who live in apartments need a place to put all their stuff because space is a premium. It's expensive. So the other thing that we're developing on site here in Hawthorne, New Jersey, is our self-storage building. So this is going to be a beautiful 928 units.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 4 floors. It's 120,000 square feet. And it's going to be managed by CubeSmart, which is a tremendous multi-billion-dollar public company. You can look them up. And it's going to have options for all different sizes and shapes. So small little 10 by 10s, 5 by 10s, 20 by 10s. And we're also going to have garages. So if you know anyone, Dougie, who has maybe a second car, they go to Florida or something, or
a motorcycle
or a contractor who needs to store their tools, we're going to have private garages. And I think the residents who live in the apartment buildings will enjoy the option of having a garage, also having storage for extra boxes or furniture that doesn't fit if it's a 1-bedroom apartment. So those are the 3 components. And we're extremely proud of this project. Not only is the design element out of this world, it's chic. We've partnered with great designers. Lita Dirks is out of Colorado. She's incredible. We've got so many, women-led teams here that have taken this project to another level. We have a consulting company called Besta, who's helped me tremendously kind of understand the market and who's going to be renting here. So the point of me sharing this is that this is a huge home run. This is going to be family wealth generation. It's a great project. It's going to be great for the community of Hawthorne. It's going to be great for residents that want a great place to live. That's the sexy part, right?
It's got it all covered, yeah.
And we broke ground. You know, do you want to show? There's a quick little video. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
But there is a little video where we can kind of show the community watching the Get Up with Garret podcast where we are right now. There was a short
the drone one.
You know, it was the one that we just it's the drone one with a little music. It's that big one that downloaded earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But we can come back to it later if it's not something that you want to pull up.
Give me a second.
It's no problem.
Yeah, give me a second. Continue on. I'll let you know when it's ready.
Absolutely. That's fine. This is live. This is why we're going live, people, right?
I think I got it. Never mind.
Keeping you on your toes.
I was just kidding. Just kidding.
You were just kidding. There's no commercials in the Get Up with Garret show. We're on and we just roll with the punches.
We're rolling. I believe this is the one you're talking about.
Perfect. Should I talk over that or just let it go?
Yeah.
So that's the self-storage pad right there. They're pouring the foundation later this week. You can see the size of it. I mean, look at the people. The little, they look like little ants there, and that's the residential part. We're halfway done with the footings now for the.
Technical difficulties.
Yep. We got kicked out.
We got kicked off the TV. We're still live though. We're still live. Everything's still working.
I just can't see myself.
You just can't see yourself for a second.
That's
just for
fine.
a second. Just for a second.
It's a mirror. It's not a problem.
Just for a second.
But we're pouring. So we're pouring the foundation this week. The concrete slab for the self-storage building, and then the residential footings are about halfway done. And then we'll start the Planet Fitness retail footings as well. So that's just, super exciting. Our partner and contractor, March Construction, is ahead of schedule. They're just killing it. They're just doing a great job. So we're super proud of them. So again, I wanted to kind of show that first, but now I want to do the reverse resume.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I'll give you a second to kind of get yourself ready. I'm going to talk about kind of the lineage. How did we get to this point where we've got a kick-ass project, right? You don't just wake up and have this. So we own a shopping center in Hawthorne. Used to be called the Rag Shop Discount Center. Then the Rag Shop went bankrupt on us. And they closed all their stores. And we renamed the center the Hawthorne Discount Center, which some people didn't love the word discount. And I said, guys, it's been called the Rag Shop Discount Center. We just called it the Hawthorne Discount Center. Same name. So now it's just the Hawthorne Center. So that's down the street. And so we've always been involved and we love the community of Hawthorne, always been involved in Hawthorne events, being charitable, which is super important to different organizations like Special Olympics or the Boys and Girls Club. And the mayor, I think this was back in 2007, 2008, the mayor came to us. His name was Pat Botbile, and he had worked for Merck Pharmaceuticals. And he came to us, and I think he said to my dad, Jerry, at the time, there's this tremendous site, 8 acres in Hawthorne that Merck bought. And we used to be a kind of chemical plant from a company called Calgon that they had purchased. And it was a dirty site, meaning that the DEP was involved and they had to clean it up, and they spent a boatload of money. And now they're not going to use it. They want to sell it. And they want to just get rid of it and move on. And sometimes huge companies do this. They'll spend a ton of money, stupid dollars that you and I would go nuts, and then they just sell it. So he said, the town would love to have more retail in town. So we actually went under contract and were able to get the zoning updated to allow more retail in this site. And we had a letter of intent, an LOI, you may hear me say, with a major company called Kohl's Department Stores, still a major player today. And we were going to do a deal with Kohl's for 100,000 square feet. So it was going to be 50 on top of 50, a freestanding building. And this was going to be an incredible deal. I think we paid around close to $7 million for the land. And then it was another about $3 million of like site work that we would have to produce and give them what's called a pad to get ready. But Kohl's was going to build the building. They were going to spend millions of dollars building this building, the vertical, the elevators, the escalators. It was a big investment. And it was going to be about a 10% return each year in terms of what they were going to pay us in rent 20-year lease.
So before you continue,
Sure.
For the people who don't understand, definitely not me, but for everyone else. So just take a pause for a second. So like you own the land.
Yep.
They were going to build the building and they were going to pay rent for the land.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
That's called a ground lease. That's called a ground
something
lease.
new every day.
That's so you see a lot of that in New York City, where there's a different landowner and a building owner. And we're doing deals around the country. For example, we have a Chick-fil-A that is starting construction in another week or two in Greensboro, where literally they're just building on our land. They're investing the capital to build, and they're going to pay us rent for the land. Now the rent will be less had we built the building and invested X amount of dollars. Then the rent would be higher. But how much money do you have each month? Right? I mean, your capital is cash is king, and you want to invest a certain amount of dollars each year. So we thought we had a pretty great deal with Kohl's. This great multi-billion dollar national company was going to come to Hawthorne. They were going to build on our land, and literally set it and forget it. Right? 20 years, like nothing for us to do. It's their building. If they have a problem with the roof, they call the Kohl's roofer. They don't call the bedroom roofer. Well, what happened? So we actually closed on the purchase of the project, got the zoning updated, but we had not finalized the lease with Lowe's. With Kohl's. Kohl's, Lowe's. And out came June. We closed on the land June of 08. And come September of 08, the Great Recession, Lehman Brothers goes bankrupt, Bear Stearns, everything falls to, a halt. Wow. And Kohl's says, hey, Bedrin, we're out. Okay, so failure lesson number one, you don't close on a piece of land until you've got a fully entitled project where the person paying you the money can't get out. That was a huge mistake that we made, right? That was a rookie mistake. That's something that you would not do today, especially if all your eggs were in the one basket of Kohl's.
So learning lesson would have now. I feel like people can get out of contract. So unless you have the money in hand, there's probably some way they can get out of it. Or is there a contract that they cannot get out of? Like, what would you saying? If Lowe's you go back in time, Kohl's, to rent Kohl's.
Oh my God! I do have a Lowe's in Missouri.
Nice.
It's all coming together.
All connected. So if you go back in time, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, you would want Kohl's to sign this contract, but I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, unless you have money in hand, some good lawyer can get them out of that contract, right?
Well,
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's a point where you say the lease is hard is a term that they'll use, meaning that it's non-refundable. They're committed to it. Do they have bigger lawyers than I have? Sure, they do. Are they willing to spend money? It may take 3-4 years to defend the lawsuit, right? And do you want to do that? But we weren't at that stage yet. So the mistake we made was not on Kohl's part; it was on our part. And I'm very transparent about that. We had an 8-page what's called letter of intent, and it had gone to their committee, and it was approved, and this and that, and we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on the engineering. So that photo that you had posted previously showing Kohl's, like we had full engineered plans for the site, and they spent a lot of money too. This wasn't like a bad acting or anything from Kohl's point of view, but the market changed. Right, the market changed, and they said, "Oh, hold it! This is not like the A+++ site. We're going to put our capital into those during the recession. We're not going to go to your site, Bedrin." So that was such an important lesson that you don't want to close on that transaction. So there we are, sitting there holding this land in the Great Recession. We had a loan on the land. I forget how much money we owed the bank at the time, but now we're paying interest costs, right? Carrying costs. Now we're paying taxes. Now we're paying to mow the lawn, right? That could sink your entire portfolio. If that's the only project you own, Dougie, you're done.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you're a developer and that's all you got. We were fortunate that we had a stable portfolio of other shopping centers. We were able to carry that, take from a good one and pay that basically. But that's not the way you want to do it. So great lesson learned there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So on to the next failure.
All right.
Same project.
Wait, there's more than one?
Yes. There's 3 failures.
Yeah.
Because that's what you got to do.
You got to live and learn.
Okay, so a couple years go by through the recession, and it sits for a couple years. I mean, nobody was doing deals. It wasn't just us. So finally, there was a Chamber of Commerce and a county shopper study visionary plan that went out from Hawthorne and from Passaic County. And they came back and said, we'd love to see a grocery store. We'd love to see something more walkable, something near transit, let's say. And so we went shopping for a grocery store, right? And you talked to the real estate brokerage community and went out there and said, who is
that this one? I just want to make sure I got the right one.
That's it, babe. That's it. That's it. So we found the largest grocery and largest retailer in the world, Walmart.
Nice.
And we spent, 6 months, a year negotiating with Walmart, and we had a signed lease. So we learned from Kohl's. We had a signed lease with Walmart. And they were going to build what's called the Walmart neighborhood market. Now, this is new. It was going to be the first one in New Jersey. So we were super excited about that. And it was a grocery store only. So imagine a ShopRite or a Stop and Shop or wherever you go, Kroger, Publix, 50,000 square feet, but it was owned by Walmart and branded Walmart, but just a grocery store.
Interesting.
And then we were, and you can see that in
oh, my bad.
Sorry. You can see that in the image, that the elevation that that Perry Petrillo had made for us. And then to the right, you have like 4 or 5 little stores. Those are going to be a little restaurant, a little, just different retail. I forget if that was 10,000 feet or 5. It's not important. But that's the real picture of what we drew. And we went to the planning board and said, okay, Hawthorne, Kohl's fell through. We're sorry about that. And now we've got you the grocery store that you've asked for. And we were not able to disclose the name of the grocery store. That was kind of under like a confidentiality agreement. And we said it's a supermarket and it's going to be open. They wanted 24/7, which became a big fight. And the town approved the deal. The planning board approved it. And they said, yes, we want to do it. I think they had to update some ordinances that talked about, the size of the building, et cetera, or the hours of operation. Well, we were excited about that. That sounded great. We've got this is going to be, who's a better retailer in terms of the check clearing than Walmart? You don't have to worry about that one, Dougie. Yes, go ahead.
So did the town approved it without knowing it was Walmart? They had the confidentiality. They didn't have to. The town didn't know with Walmart. You just said it was a supermarket,
right? Just said it was a supermarket.
How come Walmart wanted to be confidential? How come they didn't want their
if
name?
You do any research on Walmart, you'll see that people hate Walmart. There's a huge conglomerate of people and we're going to get there, that hate Walmart, and so they don't want people knowing where they're going.
Gotcha.
They don't want a big fight.
Gotcha.
And it often turns into a big fight, which it did. So we got this thing approved, and we're excited about it. And then I guess a week or two before one of the final approval or meetings, this goes on. There's monthly meetings and approvals constantly. Word leaked that it was going to be Walmart. Doesn't matter who or how. It's not important. And so what happened was a group of residents got together and formed a organization called Hawthorne Deserves Better.
Wow.
And it was basically Hawthorne deserves better than Walmart. And there was a lot of misinformation that went through here, right? They thought they were getting 100 or 200,000 square foot Walmart in the beginning. And they kept talking about how Walmart, doesn't pay people enough money. They don't pay their fair share of taxes. It's going to bring in undesirable people to the community. And, Walmart could leave a building, all over the country. When they close a Walmart, it's a desolate building that's left. So there was this opposition that didn't want Walmart. Well, it turns out that the funding behind this organization came from the owner of a rival supermarket here in New Jersey. Okay, I'm not going to mention who it was. That's not critical. But that person did not want Walmart competing with their supermarket. Right? Makes sense. This is America, by the way. This is not China. Okay, competition is good for the customer. We do live in a capitalist market. Right?
Not yet. It's not China yet.
Not yet. So. And we're not going to get political. But, so to make a long story short, the combination of that money with a very strong local group, right, made a very loud voice. And ultimately what happened was they challenged a number of changes in the ordinances in town. And they found some small holes that, could be exploited, right? And so it went to court, and Walmart, after 6 months or a year, said, hey, Bedrin, you know what? We're not down with this. We don't want to hang for this and find out if you figured this out or not. And look, maybe we would have gotten through it and got it passed, or maybe not. But Walmart said, we've run out of time. In the lease, you have certain dates you need to hit delivery by, and we weren't going to hit. So in this instance, you had a real locked in lease, but only if you delivered by X date. And at this juncture, we weren't going to hit that date because of these new challenges. Okay. So Walmart said, see ya, we're out. And there's Bedrin again, holding the bag, empty piece of land, no money coming in. Okay. So, obviously we're frustrated by that time, right? So now another couple years go by, and it gets a little foggy for me now, the years. I don't know if this is 2013, 2014, 15, somewhere in that vintage, Dougie. There's a lot of talk in the state about mixed use development and transit-oriented villages. And the state puts out something that says, if you develop a mixed use site, a transit-oriented site, and it's within a quarter mile of certain train stations in certain areas in New Jersey, we're going to give you great tax benefits, and we're going to help you with approvals and this, and that. So we're driving around, and one day I clock the mileage. I say, oh my goodness, we're only a quarter mile. We're less than a quarter mile from the Hawthorne train station. This should be a transit-oriented site where people can live here, walk to the train, have some retail. And, we felt that the town would embrace this because that this would be a community where young professionals would come in and they'd walk to the train, meaning they'd have more money. They're not spending money on car payments or insurance, and they could walk to the movie theater and walk to the Hawthorne restaurants, right? And it'd be a great opportunity. So we presented a project called Rivergate. Okay, Rivergate of Hawthorne. And Rivergate of Hawthorne had 225 apartments, and it had about, I think it was 6,000 feet of retail and 4,000 feet of office space. Okay. But it was mostly apartments. I mean, the retail was a very small component, obviously. And we went to the zoning board of adjustment because the land was not zoned for apartments. So you had to go to what's called the zoning board, which is much more difficult than the planning board. You do not want to go to the zoning board if you don't have to. And we made the case for close to a year. Okay. A lot of meetings. And we said, this is what the town needs. We've looked at the visioning studies, the master plans, et cetera. And unfortunately, the town didn't agree. They actually said, no, we don't want this. And at those meetings, the same people from Hawthorne Deserves Better got up and spoke in favor of Rivergate. They said, we didn't like Walmart, and we didn't want 24 hours, and we didn't want that. But Bedrin deserves to develop this property. They should have the opportunity to do something. And we support what the development of Rivergate would be. And, they thanked us for meeting with them and for kind of listening and making it something more, smaller and just a different type of project. And that, let me tell you, Dougie, I don't have the backup on this, but that never happens. Okay. People don't come to these planning and zoning meetings and actually speak in favor of your project. They just don't. They get up, and this is in customer service all over the place. People complain. Nobody gives you the good reviews come in, 10% of the time. Everybody knows that. So those same people came and supported.
Well, you were bringing customers to a supermarket.
And the town said no. The town said no. So that's our third failure, Doug. Man. I mean, that's 3.
I mean, that one I wouldn't take personally. I wouldn't take that one personally. I mean, I don't think you did it. The first one, maybe you should have got the signed document.
We should have got the signed. Yeah, we should have had that done.
But I mean, it's kind of out of your control, right? Unless, correct me if I'm wrong, is there something that you would have done differently for Rivergate?
Or for Rivergate? Well, I'm gonna have to get back to you on it. Yeah. Because I thought we did have a good project with Rivergate, and we spent a ton of money designing it and having the plans. And I thought, I don't think I would have called it Rivergate, because if you think about Watergate, anything with gate kind of sounds horrible. Yeah. It sounds trouble. So I certainly would have changed the name to something else. we have a working title for our new project. It's called Hawthorne at the Station. But that's not the name. We're going to be announcing the name soon. We're finalizing it now.
Nice.
So I probably would have called it Hawthorne at the Station or something else.
All right.
So I would have scratched the Rivergate. That's my feeling. So you showed the Rivergate. So now what happened next? So now we said, okay, this is crazy. Strike one, you're out. Strike two, you're out. Strike three, you're out. Fool me once, shame on me, or shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So we said, look, we've got this property. We paid $7 million for this. It's the largest piece of undeveloped property in town. We got to do something here, right? What's left? So we have always had a good relationship with the town of Hawthorne, but we actually had to sue the town of Hawthorne. Wow. We had to file a lawsuit because Hawthorne has, and not just Hawthorne, every borough, every city in New Jersey has an obligation to provide what's called affordable housing in each town. And a lot of towns are behind on their affordable housing. And there were 3 different rounds of the affordable housing, and it got changed over time. And anyway, all these towns woke up and it was like, oh shit, they're all behind, right? Yeah. And you'll read like in Montvale, hundreds of units came into Montvale. They were way behind. There's lots of towns.
I'm seeing it right now. A lot of towns building. So all of a sudden they just like started counting.
Yes. Yeah. And so, because it used to go through like the New Jersey Supreme Court, but then they said, oh, these judges in a certain level of Superior Court judge can actually hear the case. So that'll be quicker. So basically, developers can sue a town and say, hey, you don't have enough affordable housing. I can build you what you need. You need 100 units. I can build you 20 because I'm going to build 100 market rate units, right? Full price. And then I'll build you 20 affordable units as well. And I'll help you. So that was the basis of what we had to do. I did not want to take this route. This was the, nuclear route, right? This is your last option.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to do this. We had nothing left to do. So that went on for a year, right, of negotiating and of obviously them not being happy about that, being told hey, we can do this. So we finally got to the point where, the judge or someone on the, maybe it was the mediator, said, look, guys, Hawthorne, you do have this land and, they are right. I mean, it can be developed. And so they finally kind of came around. Hawthorne said, look, we are open to doing apartments here, but we don't want the whole thing apartments. They were concerned, and I'm going to tee you up, Dougie, when you're ready to show that site plan again, kind of the layout of the project. So they were concerned that the residents would complain.
The new one. The
new one.
So that one.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
They were concerned, thank you, that the residents in the apartments would hear the truck noise of the neighbor. So there's a huge.
It's over here, right?
Little more down. Yep.
This is the truck area?
Well, that's the self-storage building. So keep going down. Yep. Right there. So right there is a distributor. It's liquor distributor. So that every morning the trucks, wake up at 6 a.m. and they idle and they turn on and they warm up. And then they go out and they make deliveries to local bars and restaurants with all different types of alcohol. So the town was very concerned that the residents would kind of hear these trucks and call and complain and say, hey, it's 6 a.m. Why are they bothering me? So we went back and forth in the town, we'll do 100 units, we'll do 90, we'll do 2, whatever, back and forth. So finally one day we were sitting in my dad's office, and it was my dad, my uncle, and my cousin. We're all partners in the business. And I said to the family, I said, guys, they have said yes that they'll do apartments, and I think it was around 90 or 100 they would do. We have 8 acres, of which about 6.5 are usable because you have wetlands, you have flood area. Is there another use we can do here that complements this? Like maybe we're taking the wrong approach. Why do we keep saying no? We want 200 when they've offered 100. Why don't we just say yes, thank you? And what else can we build that complements it? And our attorney had said to us that a lot of developers in similar positions were building self-storage. And we didn't know a thing about self-storage. And he said, I think self-storage would be a great buffer because you don't need a lot of parking. There's not a lot of employees. It's not, people bring their stuff, they leave it, and then they don't come back for a long time. True. That's the beauty of the business, right? Have you ever had a storage unit before?
Yes.
Yeah. Like all this stuff could go in storage and then it could be there for a year and you don't even touch it.
Yeah.
and you pay the rent every week or every month. Sounds like a good business for me.
It is a good business.
So to make a long story short, we went back to the town and said, look, we think we can do this self-storage building here. And you know what they said? What a great idea. That will be a sound wall for the trucks and the apartments.
Perfect.
We love it. They didn't give us a hard time on how big it was and the colors and the size and this and that. They said it made total sense to them.
Nice.
Okay. And then we obviously always I knew they really wanted retail as well. We had talked about that back with Kohl's and of course with Walmart. And I felt that a retail, project would really complement the residents living there, kind of like an amenity, right? You wake up, you can go to the gym, you can get a coffee, get lunch to go to go to New York City on the train. So that's kind of how the whole project came together. And we did what's called a settlement agreement, which we had a mediator and the court had to sign off on this. And then it went to the planning board. Okay. So all this took 13 years, right? We blew through $13 million.
Wow.
We had 3 failures. I couldn't even tell you how many lawsuits. I mean, definitely 3 lawsuits, right?
At least.
But at the end, the difference maker was that self-storage building being the sound wall. That was the thing. And we talked last time with Ryan about listening, right? We had to be good listeners to understand that the town was really, really sensitive to the neighbor, the big liquor distributor. And that was super important. And we had ignored that early on in our conversations with the town. So that's what I would have learned from some of the other projects, maybe, Dougie, that we needed to be better listeners to know that it wasn't just about what our needs were. It was about the community and the specific neighbor and understanding, can we figure this out with them? Not in an adversarial way, but in more of a, hey, let's figure this out. Let's work together. Right?
Yeah.
Nice. So that's kind of the reverse resume on Hawthorne. And, in the end, we're extremely thankful and grateful that we've got an incredible project. And I can't wait to bring more updates through the podcast and show everybody when it's finished, because we are really proud of it. Yeah. And
it looks great. It looks great. It's got everything you could possibly need, especially in the day and age like we live in today where, working from home, everything you have is right there. You can go to the gym. You can get something to eat. You're going to have a couple of retail stores. You got it all made.
It's all there. Yeah. And, to kind of put a bow on that, we couldn't have done it without our partners, Valley Bank and March Construction. So kind of a little behind the curtain with that. What happened was, we started talking to different banks about how do you build this project, right? And, a number of banks in this community knew our family, had worked with us for years. But Valley is just a solid relationship that has been around and been supportive of us through decades and all the different businesses that we've been in, right? And so Valley stepped up and they lent us $40 million.
Wow.
Right? I think there's a picture up there I think Travis is in the picture, and I'm not sure if Chris Coyley's in the picture or not. But just incredible leadership over at Valley, and they said to us, "Look, guys, we can do this for you, but you know what? This is kind of your first time, so we really want you to bring on a partner. We want you to bring on someone that can help you." And so we called our contractor, and I'm hoping that we'll have them as a guest in the future.
Nice.
On the show. No pressure, Lou. We called Lou March and said, "Hey, Lou, you've been building thousands of apartments throughout New Jersey. What can you tell us about, who would you recommend that's a great partner to work with?" And he said, "Well, what about me?" He said, I've been doing some real estate investing as well. And we've done, I think he developed a Trader Joe's in Wayne, did a beautiful job with that, and has some other projects he's working on. And we said, beautiful. I love that idea of our contractor being vested in the project. And so we told that to the bank, and they said, perfect. We think it's great. We'd like to grow a relationship with them as well. And so Lou and his family invested in the deal, and they're a partner in the deal, and they're also the contractor.
Nice.
So we're thrilled about the progress that we've made there. And that's really how it came together. A long time, a lot of ups and downs, right? And in the end, that perseverance, that grit to never give up. We knew we had something special in terms of where the location was, and the market has only gotten better for this type of mixed use project. It's going to have a lot of work from home elements, like you said. There'll be little dens, little offices. There'll be co-working suites. So the product is really hitting at a good time, Dougie.
You could have easily 3 times thrown in a towel, sold the land.
Absolutely.
And now you're putting one of the best complexes, if you will, or living areas. What's the word I'm looking for? You're putting a very nice, convenient space together. When if you could have just thrown in a towel and sold the land,
could have, or could have just put up kind of a nondescript, industrial building and rented it to someone who wanted to store dog food or something for Daisy. So that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about today, the reverse resume and how to be comfortable with failure, how to be open and transparent about failure and understanding that is the key to success, and to kind of change your mindset and turn it around and focus on what can you learn from each experience. And in the end, it's a great example of this project will be the best of all 3, 100%.
Yeah.
Financially, the returns, kind of long-term wealth generation, great asset for the grandkids to keep. And by bringing on this partner, we now have an opportunity to look at other projects together. We never would have had that had we got the first one right.
No, it's a great story. Great story.
It's
not over yet.
No, it's just
begun. Yeah,
it's just the beginning.
Awesome. Good stuff.
So coming down the pike, I'm hoping to see everybody in the next couple of weeks. We'll finish up our vacations and then get into more of a consistent schedule in the fall. We've got some great entrepreneurs lined up that are getting ready to come on the Get Up with Garret podcast that are in the industries of confections, candy, beach chairs, moving companies, certainly commercial real estate. Just very, very excited about kind of what the fall lineup is looking like.
If someone is interested in maybe joining us, do you have an email address that they can reach out to you, or do you not want to put that out there?
No, of course. Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to put pressure on you, but how can people reach out to you?
Well, first of all, you can follow me on Instagram at Garret Graham, right? It's 2 R's, 1 T. So at Garret Graham. Say hi to my followers live on Instagram. And you can email me gsbedrin, BEDRIN as in Nancy, at bedrin.com. If someone's interested in being a guest on the show with a great entrepreneurial background, we'd love to hear about that. Obviously, we're very passionate about women-owned businesses, of course, with the salon. And also, if you're interested, we've had some people reach out that are interested in sponsoring the show.
Absolutely.
And being involved as a sponsor, having product placement in the show. And we'd love to talk to you about that opportunity as well. So, Dougie, unless you have anything else for me.
No, you entertained me. I know you entertained them. That was a great story. And that was a great, a story of, never giving up and never throwing in the towel, keep chipping away. And now if the first ones, if you got your way, the first ones, it wouldn't have been as good as this one. Like, all right, yeah, Walmart would have been a good deal for you, but this blows all the previous failures away. Now you have the retail, you have the living, you have the storage, you have the restaurant there. Like, it's the best of everything. And if your first vision was successful, it never would have came about.
It's true.
Great job.
That's it.
It was awesome.
All right, bro. Play me out.
Playing you out. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Get Up with Garret.
Thanks, everyone.